We're going to start the budget workshop at 6:09 p.m. Mr. Price, you may take it away.
All right, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Apologies for the delay, there were some file saving issues, but we are up to date now. All right, budget workshop number 4, October 23rd. So similar to last time, we will be going through the updated fund balances, the fund project tracking sheet, capital expense plan, operations, draft fund budgets, macroeconomic trends, road fund decisions, and then we'll go and summarize this and go and review the actual budget planning document and show you some decisions. So I'll go through this fairly quickly since we've looked at this several times at this point. Biggest updates are the bond fund now. Well, actually, these are the same updates from last time. I just had the wrong date last time. So these were updated numbers last time. Biggest update is the bond fund is now starting to dwindle as all these projects come in, and we are now finally able to apply for because of the decision to rescind that the first award. We are now have applied for the funding for C20, so that should be coming in shortly. Otherwise, no big surprises or changes on this on the current accounts.
And just as a reminder, we rescinded one in order to take a bigger grant, right?
Correct, that's correct. Yes, we rescinded a $1.6 million grant to accept a $2.3 million grant. So a pretty big win there. Project bond tracking sheet was updated. I continue to have the same small discrepancy, which I have not been able to locate yet. Over the course of 5 years, there's a $3,700 discrepancy that I'm not sure whether it comes from just the differences in how things updated. So I should be able to track that down by next month. But that's pretty far ahead of where we were a couple months ago. That the actual cost spreadsheet has been updated as of this month with numbers through September. And then the totals after committed and completed projects is now at $1.269 million. And if we get the proposed projects from the second page of the bond tracking sheet, we will be around, and we're awarded that, and we go through those projects, we'll be down to about $968,000. Then that includes the police department garage floor that we said we were going to put into the bond fund, the public works and police department cameras, and I'll talk about that when we get to the decisions page. The energy audit improvements that we were awarded through the Moore grant, and then the pool improvement. It has been listed on the proposed projects page, and that is a $450,000 project with grants completely offsetting that if we're awarded all of the grants. So this is where we would be with the bond tracking sheet, assuming we go with all the decisions that have been made so far by council. Any questions on that before?
So if the pool improvements are grant funded and same with the energy audit.
Yep.
What is the delta then between, it's just basically the cameras and the garage floor are the two things, right?
So they were last month, they were like 1.379 for the 1.379 million for the completed projects. And I forget it, obviously just add 110 to the 960, we were just about 110, about 1.1 million in the after proposed projects. So that's where we're at now with the decisions that have been made. Okay. This has not changed at all. The capital plan, improvement plan hasn't changed. These are all built in, as we've discussed, into the budget planning doc. You can see those highlighted by green in the budget planning doc, so they're tied right in on all the capital improvements that we make year after year. Mainly these are aside from infrastructure and building improvements. And then the draft fund budgets for 2025, this has been updated. General fund will be around 6.8 million, the bond fund around 8 million. The sewer fund stays around 2.9 million, and the road fund has dropped a little because we're. With the suggestion on the next page, down to about 407,000 for the road fund budget this year. As we've mentioned several times, just want to keep mentioning this, macroeconomic trends past 8 years. Really, the most important one is that first one, because we don't do assessments. The real estate taxes essentially in the borough are flat, minus a few very minor increases. If you remove that 1 mil increase in 2021, essentially the change is like 0.68% over that 8-year period. So annually, so it's a very low increase, and it is why it's difficult when you don't have regular assessments. Basically, your tax dollar value goes down every year. And as you can see, compared to inflation, it's even with the millage increases, way less than half of what inflation is. So just want to keep updating everybody on that. Road fund discussion. This is an updated slide, basically just with the recommendation that was talked about and decided on last time, that we're going to recommend keeping the taxes at the same rate, so no in-tax increase based on 8.59 mils, and keeping that all in the general fund again this year, because we do have that overfunded road reserve, mainly because of all the projects that have happened around the borough. And all the roads that have been paved because of the projects that were largely grant funded. And in addition, during COVID, there was no paving done. So there were several years where the road fund was taking income, but not really putting out expenditures. So that's a recommendation here. Still. So the summary on the overall explanation of the budget, it's a balanced budget, as I mentioned, no tax increase. Keep the 8.59 mils in the general fund as we did in 2025. So do the same for 2026. No, this one, we did were able to add some money to reserves last year, but because of a large amount of O&M or sewer repair maintenance issues this year, we're not going to be able to do that again this year. We thought we were going to have a lower year this year, but because they hit areas that were had not been really cambered or reviewed in a very long time, we had quite a few repairs. So something to keep in mind. $8 million again in infrastructure projects. I mentioned the macroeconomic trends and the lack of reassessments hindering economic development in Crafton. It's important to note that too, not having reassessments on a regular basis makes it so any new investment in the community costs far more than what already exists in the community. It's a newcomer's tax. So if you want to start a business in Crafton right now, since we haven't had to pay a reassessment in 13 years, it just makes it harder. If you're if purchasing a building is part of your idea. So just something to keep in mind there. Also, high number of sewer repairs projects again. So I mentioned that a couple of times. So with that, let's get to the decisions. Let's get to the meat of what we're here to discuss. And so I'm going to switch over to, assuming there's no questions, I went for fairly quickly.
Did we see if Colton is on too?
I did not see if Colton was on. I can check real quick. Nope, not at this.
Okay.
Okay. So let me unshare this and reshare the actual budget. Let's go to the decisions page. So we can update something. Okay, so I'm going to walk through all decisions again, just so we have an idea of all of what is available. And some of these have already been largely decided upon. Maybe I can mark these with something to indicate that. Probably just leave it in the notes and I'll decide what to do next time. So first thing we have, there is a need for new tables and chairs at the community center. Those were also put forth as a decision last year. It'll cost around $12,000 to do both of those things, based on estimates of similar type of product. Maybe a little, one thing that we were requested is to have a lighter product than we have now, so that it's easier to move and adjust, but still keep the commercial grade to those, so that's about $12,000 for those. We do have better estimates now for the cameras and doors. The Public Works building is around $17,312, the estimate for that. And we do plan on using the bond funds for that as in this year, as soon as the building is complete, which we expect sometime in the middle of November or late November, depending on how the utilities are, how we're able to get utilities in there. This, I'm waiting for an updated quote from our vendor for camera system updates and squad for the main Borough campus, mainly for camera system update and for a new squad room door. Basically right now, there are several areas of the borough several areas of the police department that are not cambered at all that need to be cambered, where we're going to be adding we're moving where the what do you call it, the evidence room is, and that should have cameras inside and out. We're also going to add protected doors there so that it's better secured, and this will allow, as the chief would explain to you, would allow us to be certified as a
It will be
recognized.
one of the things that are required for certification. It's not the only.
No, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I didn't mean to make it sound like it was the only thing.
Yes,
It's one of many things that are required to be certified.
right.
But that is one of the issues, so that's something that we're getting an updated quote, because when we got the full quote. For basically improving all of the doors and putting everything on the same system, the doors were fairly expensive. To get them all on the same system, so that entire update would cost around $49,000. So we're asking for a more value engineered option that is just for what we absolutely need. Both for that certification and just to protect the interests of Crafton as recommended by the chief. So we will be getting an updated quote on that.
So when you're saying here, the squad room door,
Correct,
we're talking the outside door
correct.
on the side.
So
So-
currently, I'll explain,
Yeah.
unless you want to.
Okay, just as long as that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're.
So there is an entry door on the side of the building that currently isn't it isn't automated. It doesn't have an automated lock. It goes right into, as it says, the squad room where all the officers have their computers and their cutting books. And what's happening now, because that door does not close automatically, it's not used. And so what happens is the garage door is going up and down because they're all entering through the garage door. And what the chief wants to be able to have done is he wants less wear and tear on the garage door. And he wants the officers to be able to have a keyed entry with automated closure so that they can enter and leave easily and rest assured that the door is actually locked. And so that changed the pattern of what's happening, because what we also have is when they come in through the garage door, they're coming in through an internal door that is actually wood and is not always locked. So there is a little bit of time where they're really unprotected
Right.
when they enter that way. So that's why we've identified that as the most important door to have done.
In addition, it's a safety issue. The door in the squad room, which is really the easiest access to get out of the building quickly, is not a push open door.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that bit.
Yep, it is a lock. It is a key locked from the inside or a turn lock from the inside. So if you have an emergency, there's no quick access. You basically have to turn
No,
it on.
egress, yeah,
And then if you're just leaving, it's not locked behind you either.
right.
So it's a risk for several reasons, so that's why we made that a priority to get done as soon as possible. In addition to what you were saying, it's also wear and tear on a much more expensive piece of equipment, the garage door, than this individual door, plus leaving it open and all the
Right.
issues with that when they're rushing out. Plus, it costs them additional time, and these are all things that can affect safety of residents, and the officer
And the
themselves.
opposite.
Yep.
So
So-
where did I know the other big concern is the door between the other garage and our lobby
Yes.
area?
Yes, we're gonna have Public Works fix that.
Oh, okay,
That does not need to be, because it's not required to be an immediate exit, like a
Right.
push exit. because you have the push exit right next to it.
Right,
That can still remain a key lock door, and we're going to do that for the time being. We're gonna install a new door. Which is, that Dave can buy and they can install it.
okay,
So it's a much lower cost. It's a typical maintenance thing.
okay,
And then we'll have both of those doors secured. And then if you want to add the, upgraded package for those additional cameras and the additional door controls, which would better secure everything, but are not as immediately, not
so
as,
Mike,
not
that
as.
was to next year's budget, huh?
Right, and that's why per the recommendation of the finance committee as well, is for these other items, the next three items that are all related to cameras and upgrades. First, we have the rest of the upgrades that we're recommending for the Borough campus. And that includes door controls, meaning that this building and that building will all be on the same door controls. It will have cameras at those entrances and exits, so people will know who has entered and at what time, and they'll be on camera, and they'll all be on the same system. So that it's just much easier to manage from one place. So that's that additional 29.5 for the Borough complex. And that includes some additional cameras, but mainly it's getting all the doors on the same system. We currently have 3 separate disparate systems that are not well managed. Plus, that would be adding a key lock, or a keypad to the evidence room, which for the time being, we don't need. We're not going to do that for the time being, but it is recommended. And it's not needed for certification, but it would be an improvement. So that's what's bucketed in that 29.5. The next item are the cameras for the parks. That is putting 3 or 4 cameras in Linden and Noble parks. And then I don't remember the exact number of cameras for Crafton Park, but it's much higher. I think it was 14 or 16 cameras in Crafton Park. And that is more expensive than putting it in the buildings, because you have to run power, you have to have connections to the internet, so they have to have point connections and whatnot. So that's what adds a little more expense to that project, but that is estimated to be around $34,000 or $35,000. The license plate readers are significantly more expensive, mainly because each one of those locations around the borough will require multiple cameras. So you're talking 9 locations, but you're talking 2 to 3 cameras per location, at least 2, so you catch people coming and going. And in addition, you have to have power at each one of those locations, and you have to have connectivity at each one of those locations. So that's why that number is so significantly higher. The chief and I are gonna look into grant funds and see what we can find for that type of investment. And we are absolutely willing to drop that number from 9 to 4 or 5 and really hit the highest, start with the highest volume traffic, like on Crafton Boulevard, on Steuben, and those areas where you get the most significant amount of traffic coming through the borough. So, but our recommendation is that we don't put this on the budget in 2026. And I realize I have this in 2025. Should probably say 2026. But we are going to see what we can do for these additional ones that aren't as much of an immediate need, to see if we can get funding for those. And if we need to also value engineer any of those options too, if there's other things that we can cut out, so we can make that those combined a more affordable option.
So that line 9 should have a no in the yes, no column.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Great. So that's where we're at. Do you want me to go through all of them before we discuss what decisions, or would you like to think about so we've made no on all these, but these top 2 we haven't made a decision on yet. Do you want to go, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to go through the whole?
Yeah, I think we have gone through all these, and I would go through the ones that have changed.
Yeah.
And then I think it's time, to have a discussion about what we want to take off the table completely and or add.
Okay.
We really want to go.
Okay.
So we've gone through a lot of these.
I'll go through, I think let me see, these have all been discussed and we have not changed any in that next list of items. I do have an update on Gibson. You'll see it there. I talked to Gibson today. I talked to Jeff, the proprietor. They are happy to provide us with the exact same level of show we had last year for the same price. Which is great. They like that we pay in full early. It makes it easier for him to deal with the tariff costs. So that's why they're fine with us, paying early. That's basically what he's asking other people to do is. A lot of people split their payments up and, so that's what they asked. We could get, I wanna also voice, interest of the rec board. I mean, this is the sesquicentennial, Sester quintennial. All right. Yeah, nobody knows exactly. 250th year anniversary of the United States. So we are attempting to get a larger act. We have asked for some donations from sponsors. So we are attempting to make this a bigger event this year. So I'd just like to put that out there, if the rec board would be interested in this being a bigger show. And being that we could get the same thing for the same price, if we did add even a partial, even if we don't add 15,000, maybe we add 5. That would help make it a bigger show if anybody, if we're interested in doing that. And we would like to make this a larger event this year, given that it's the 250th anniversary of the United States. So I wanted to put that out there as a request from the rec board.
They were saying that they provide the same show as last year at no additional cost. What was the cost last year? Was it 15? It was 15 last year?
Right, this was essentially doubling it, because
Got
when I had put this in, I had no idea
Okay.
what the cost would be. I was expecting that he was gonna tell me, yes, it's gonna be 30% more expensive to get the same show, but he didn't.
Is there any fireworks number currently on the proposed 26 budget?
Yes, it's at 15.
So this we can leave alone because this was additional.
Yeah.
This is additional.
Got it. Okay, that was additional.
Exactly. If we do,
Yeah.
we leave this as no, that means it'll be the same as
Okay.
last year, correct?
Thank you.
But we could also, again, we could change this number to 5,000, 10,000, whatever we wanted to do, if you wanted to make the show a little bit bigger. For the 250th anniversary. Pool liner issue, this is in fact an issue. We did, reading her report, which I did not have the time to do last time. I got it the day before. So we are working on getting estimates for what that work would require. They were able to get through this year, and I don't know that it caused significant issues, but she did say it got worse. So there's a point at which it could become a problem. So we are gonna have someone come out and look at it and see if we can get an estimate on what an improvement would be. I hope to have that at the 1st November meeting.
And what's the issue with it?
It bubbles, it has hole, it basically, water gets underneath the liner. And when you get water underneath the liner, it makes it easier for it to rip.
Okay,
Because now it's no longer just flat
Yeah.
against the bottom of the
Okay.
pool. And replacing that entire thing, I don't have the numbers, but according to Coletta, I think it was $80,000 to replace the whole thing
We did it just a few years ago.
several years ago.
It was, I think I had it happened right before I started or about there, so that's been 4 or 5 years. We did check the warranty on it
Yeah,
to see if it was covered under warranty, and it's past the warranty
Yep.
stage.
But it was not a cheap thing.
yeah. So we'll double check that. I didn't check the warranty on that. Where did you hear about the?
Told me,
I don't,
because I asked that question about the warranty.
last year?
No,
Mhm.
no, I think
was
within the last week or two,
Yeah.
either the last meeting we had or
Somebody
finance.
mentioned about the warranty.
No, you asked about another warranty. You asked
Then
about
I'm-
warranty on that, on the electronic piece over there. I responded to that.
It's this, and it was last year. So,
Okay.
because this was on there last year.
We'll I'll have to double check. If I did answer that, I might have answered incorrectly, because I don't recall
Yeah.
checking on that warranty.
Because that's the question I asked last year when this came up. I said, I remember hearing that we had replaced the pool liner. There has to be a warranty on it, so,
In the meeting also.
Okay.
and I remember last year us saying that we checked the warranty and it was out of warranty at that point.
Okay, we'll double check
Yeah.
that. I don't recall that, but
Do you remember us talking about that? Because it was on last year's.
I do, and I had in my mind that we were out of warranty.
Yeah.
You have I think a slightly better memory of when we had the conversation, but
Yeah.
all right, we'll double check on that. We get an update. I've mentioned several times the brush for the skid steer. This is definitely something that would help improve public works effort, especially when we're moving gravel, which is. Especially in this last year where we had massive and very quick rains, we definitely had this issue on several streets. So this would definitely be helpful for that, and it's used for a lot of other things as well. When they're cleaning up areas and doing work around, so they are interested in getting the brush for the skid steer. We've discussed the ladder truck as well, and this is really gonna be probably a 2026 long-term discussion about what the future, what is the best path for the future of equipment for the fire department, so we're gonna have a longer discussion on this. And what sourcing would look like and how we could fund that and what options are out there, so that will be a longer discussion for 2026 in the following years. We continue to have that dog park on there, for an estimated cost of $25,000. These three, for the road fund decisions, these three choices were essentially made at the last meeting, updating everybody on that. We're choosing the two worst roads at this point that we hear a lot about, that we estimate that to cost around $65,000. And the nice thing is that we have so much work going on in the borough, we might be able to tack this on to one of the other projects at the bid prices, so we're gonna look into doing that for either with the Broadhead project or even potentially the C20 project. Probably see who has the best bid prices and see if they're willing to do it. So we'll look into that for the asphalt, the two major roads that we're gonna recommend for treatment this year. We again budgeted $100,000 for brick repair. And Larry is hard at work on updating a full 5-year and ongoing plan for that. But for the time being, we're budgeting $100,000 for repair, basically hitting the worst repairs in the borough next year. And then, of course, there's the viewing road repairs. We are waiting for an official estimate on the updated cost from Gateway. But we're looking at probably around $100,000 for the repair of that, and all three of those will come directly out of the road fund. So no choice to be made, those that have been made at this point. And then the last big item, and we've discussed this several times. There is $695,000 worth of sewer repairs that are required at this point. These are all from the cammering that was the camera work that was done. We're doing those sewers around the borough this past year. So they're all new, fresh repairs, even though some of them may have been there for a while. So we're recommending that we spend $300,000 on this. Currently, I've put in a line item at $280,000. We are currently waiting for Gateway to get back to us with high priority repairs. And then we'll separate these out based on spot repairs, excavation repairs. Well, I'm sorry, there's gonna be no spot repairs, but excavation repairs, manhole to manhole, new manhole to manhole liner repairs. And whether we do Mildred Ave, although we've been told that Mildred Ave is not gonna be the priority. So it's gonna be a list of probably excavation repairs and manhole to manhole liner repairs. We will be completing all manhole liner repairs from this year in 2025. We weren't sure that was gonna happen. We now confirmed that it is gonna happen. So we're basically waiting on those updated numbers. So that could cut that $145,000 down a little bit to $125,000 if we end up doing a whole suite of $300,000 worth of repairs. It's unlikely to be exactly $300,000. But we anticipate it being around there. So that's the whole slate of decisions that we have mapped out, some of which you've already made. But now we can go through and look at the ones that we haven't made yet. So going to the first chunk again, the municipal property repairs or decisions. Would you like to invest in the community center?
I think the easiest thing would probably be if we did like a yes, maybe no. So that way we can see how much total, who feels firmly on yes, and then maybe is something we'll consider if there's additional or if we want to move something, and then no just makes it. So you can do colors like red, yellow, green, if that helps.
I'll just do maybe in the notes, or yes or no if we choose.
Okay.
So first item, yes, no, maybe.
I mean, I'm a no for those two things.
How about everybody else?
Yeah, I don't know how you want to write that up.
I would say maybe based on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's lots of other things that are more important.
I'd love
to have them, but you haven't seemed like it's the most pressing thing.
Okay. Is that consensus? Okay. Seems like consensus, all
I
right.
mean, I agree, put it on the record for everyone, it needs done, but there are clearly way more important things that need to happen.
Yep, related option then, floor for the community center. Yes, no,
That's the
maybe.
linoleum floor.
Linoleum
Yeah.
floor.
Grants out there for beautification of community buildings? I mean, is there,
It's not, those type of things are not as typical grant, you know, those are
Okay.
maintenance, they're harder to get. It's not a big ribbon cutting thing, you're typically like park improvements.
yeah, okay,
Build
thanks
a
then.
new building,
Right,
an addition.
I'll
to
win the
it.
Powerball. I will do these things.
No, the other way to look at some of this is it's
Still on the fire truck.
There you go.
yeah,
But I kind of feel, again, this sort of goes into what we just said, and for my feeling is just anything to do with the community center, it totally needs it. There's just other
right,
more important things, in my opinion.
is that consensus around it?
Yeah.
Okay, then the next, we have significantly lowered this price, police room basement. Which is basically providing an additional room, really a deep cleaning and some painting and some additional furniture and whatnot would make this room much nicer. It also would give them a shower that is really ready to go, just needs some love and care. That's about $2,500 to really get that room up to snuff and ready to go. Thoughts on that?
Showers don't do for them.
Small amount would get a lot of regular use.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Okay. Consensus, I sounds like.
Yeah.
Admin and comm center carpet, the carpet that we have right here. on our
Mhm.
that wrinkles up when we roll our seats across the.
Yeah.
And then we did have it clean, so there aren't the stains out in the hallway anymore. We were able to get those out. But thoughts on that, that would be all of admin upstairs and all of which was painted last year. Or this year, and then all of this building for carpet.
This falls into the same thing as the community center for me.
Okay,
It's like, what we have is not failing, it's just less than
Yeah,
desirable, but I mean, it works.
yeah.
It- It's something that maybe, because we're gonna have winter coming too, so it'll get muddy and dirty and all of that. So if it's something that's more industrial, because I don't think this is industrial or
It is
commercial.
carpet.
Okay.
It's- They've very much switched how they do it, they're now doing carpet squares pretty much.
Yeah, 'cause this is one thing, so
Right.
like this, you can't pull out anywhere.
Right.
So you pull it out now when it buckles and then you put a
Right.
new one in, okay. Maybe it's a maybe.
Good, I'll take it as maybe. Elevator, we've already discussed that we're gonna move that to 2027. Awning for the Borough building. This has been a request for years. That's where pretty much every patron that comes to the Borough during the day stands out, just stuck standing out there in the rain as they wait for officers or they wait for mainly wait for police officers because that's when they're typically stuck. The admins are there, they're typically let in immediately. And so this is definitely something that's been asked for by several people, but that is not awning for the Borough building.
Would this be similar to the library borough building, which is that or that fabric, or is this
I would think matching it makes sense. I mean, especially since they cleaned off fairly well and they look nice now. But it's up to, I mean, we can do what the borough wants to do. That's a fairly conservative estimate. That's probably more than what it'll cost. But
So yes, or maybe.
Yeah, I'm more of a maybe, I'd rather see what else.
Yes, but not a hard yes.
all right, I'll just put maybe for now. We can always come back as we get through all these. New AC unit for the code office. I would say this is almost definitely going to be required. So I would like to push for this one.
Is this an AC unit for one office space?
This is for all of that side of the administrative building.
Okay, because there's like, what, three, I think.
There's 3 offices.
This wouldn't fall into our energy audit.
We might be able to get it into the energy audit. We could try. There's $20,000 for that.
Seems like a high vote for.
It is a very large unit. It is that's how they're, for industrial size air conditioners, they are fairly expensive. It is, I don't even know the ton, I don't wanna say maybe a 4-ton unit, but it's big.
I have no idea what that means. I would pick this over, like carpet. For sure, so my feeling is a
Okay.
library door to make that space for the kids.
Did that number just get changed intentionally? Is it?
Yes, because I'd forgotten that we had updated that today. We went over and actually did a closer investigation. We can do it in-house. And we're gonna look at getting just a glass, like a paneled glass door so that you can see kids behind the door, so you don't wanna open it into a child on the floor. But we're also wanna make sure there was a concern about
Noise.
making sure noise was captured. So we're gonna actually look at exterior doors, which have more insulating qualities. And thus being able to keep that noise at a lower rate. So, but really, our initial estimate's between $500 and $1,000 for the door, but Public Works will do it internally. And you're probably looking at 3 sheets of what do you call it, drywall at most, and then the framing. So it's really not a very expensive fix now that we've more closely investigated that situation.
This would be a single door, not a double.
Yeah, it's only big
Yeah.
enough for a single. It's not wide enough for a double door, not easily anyway. And a double door typically won't be very open, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is 1,000 a little too conservative? Should just for the budget, should you make it
1,500.
something, just so in case we,
Yep.
then I say yes to that.
Yeah. Okay.
My feelings, again,
Well,
we're a
yeah,
group,
that, yep.
Matt's nodding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put it on the
Kinda
record, Matt's
aiming
nodding.
in that direction, so. And then, the next, this is a bigger expense, the stage roof. We can either do the actual stage itself, which is around $10,000, or the entire structures, which is around $30,000. There are leaks in both, although the most significant leaks are definitely on the stage roof. And if we are going to be doing bigger shows and attracting more talent, we prefer that this building be improved. So I would recommend, this has been an issue. We've heard this complaint for several years now. We have patched it several times. I would suggest that this is a pretty important one. But that's the decision whether we do the whole roof or the stage or none at all.
Is that just reshingling?
It would be in places you might replace, it's mainly the signaling, but you might have to, I think in a couple places, they're gonna have to replace the sunroof,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's either 10 or 30 or 0, right? Because it's not 40.
Right,
So
correct.
yeah.
That's correct. We do one, we won't be doing one.
I'm gonna pause. Is this maybe a maybe?
I'm leaning towards no on the whole roof and maybe on the stage roof.
I still just get confused on this building as a whole, which I said the last time, so, I know just from being on rec board how important the stage is and the space, and when we go in there, it's. Not ideal, so I know that it should be done, I'm just, again, this. So I won't do my repetitiveness, I think it needs done, certainly the stage part. But this is where I'm like, when you do these things, is it bad to do piecemeal patchwork, like?
In this case, just keep in mind, these are totally separate roofs, so it would not be a problem to do it piecemeal.
Okay,
Because there's no connection between the main stage roof and the surrounding roofs.
Cause it's
So
just
you
like
could-
you're separate on the sides.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could definitely do the, like, so you could do the stage roof this year. And then come back and have a different bid to do the rest of the roof if it proves to be a problem.
Okay.
Are the other parts of the roof an issue? Are they leaking?
Yep. They are leaking.
Like where? Into the
By
bathrooms?
the bathrooms, on the entrance closest to the park. They're leaking. I don't know in the garages or in the bathrooms if they're leaking. But we certainly are having leaks in the surrounding. The whole roof does need to be.
Is there damage in from the leaks about inside the structure below? There's just-
But no, it hits a concrete floor for the most part, and so it really hasn't damaged much. We've been able, you've been able to mitigate that because most people don't keep much back there that, you tend to clear it out after shows. It hasn't gotten as far as I know, it hasn't gotten into the cages where they keep the equipment, but there is electric equipment in there, and just because it hasn't happened yet, doesn't mean it won't happen.
So we store equipment, also the CPAA
Yep.
stores equipment in
Yep.
there.
And we plan on, hopefully, if we, depending on how sponsorships go, maybe improving some of the equipment down there as well, themselves. So we might want to invest, and if we do invest, I would, especially on this, I would highly recommend at least we do the stage. But as far as the other building, it's important, it's not as important probably, but. If we're going to do other upgrades, so if we do decide, let's say we get a sizable donation from one of the sponsors or from multiple sponsors. And we decide that we want to put that money towards improving the stage. Then you wouldn't want to have a roof over brand new improvements.
Yeah.
So
Then I would lean yes to the stage.
Stage roof.
So we're gonna go yes with the stage roof? No? Okay, and then,
I could have a maybe on the whole roof.
Okay.
It would be nice to do it all together, but.
If it's leaking now, it's gonna fail.
It's never gonna get better.
It's not gonna get
Yeah,
better, so.
Right, it never gets better.
We get an area that does cause something that's a larger
That
level.
What happens when you if you say yes right now to see how, because you guys have been saying no, no, no.
I know, we still have 130,000, and you're,
Yeah, I feel like the big, some of the, we're.
So
If we get down through the bottom of the list with yeses, then we can go back to the maybes and change them to yeses to see
Yeah.
where we end up.
how about I do this? I'll say this yes for now. I'll say the other one no, so it'll add that $30,000,
You can
And
even
then-
say yes.
and I know.
I think that was something was telling you.
So, all right, so I'll get rid of this, and so let's go, how about this, do we wanna add anything, do we wanna keep it at 15?
I say no.
Keep it at 15?
Yep.
I think it'd be great to do a nice, extra special thing this year, but I wouldn't put that into extra fireworks and put it into the rest of the event.
Agreed, okay.
A little nicer.
Okay,
And sponsorship things could
Yeah.
provide for that.
okay, I'm seeing nods and hearing yeses, so,
So we're
okay.
not something I'll just burn.
Yeah.
Pool liner issue, I know I don't have a good estimate on this, and I apologize for that. Do we wanna say yes to this and then come back?
I think for this purpose, I would say yes.
I'm more in favor of yes there, that it's heavy use, stuff.
What's that?
I think more of a yes.
That's because we didn't do it.
Oh, I bet you're gonna build it.
No,
No.
that 15 is already in the budget.
Oh.
So this
This is for
just an
30,
additional.
yeah, 30.
So I'll say yes to this for now.
I have no idea what those settle costs.
Skid steer for all the works. Or the, not the skid steer, that's a lot. more.
The shovel thing.
But, the.
Brushes like this last.
Well, this is, yeah,
Well, probably longer than the skid steer itself.
but in talking to Dave, I think this is the problem with the current one we have is not the one we need because it keeps all that gravel on the sides. So that's what we're seeing when you see all the gravel everywhere. And this one will
Help
get
clean
that
it up.
rid of it, yeah.
And basically, they're using the street sweeper to work this function now. Where this would allow them to use a skid steer and a shovel. More effectively.
Where will they use that?
They'll use it mainly when, one of the biggest things is when they have the big rain issues and all the gravel pushes up on the streets, it makes it
Mhm.
much faster and easier to clean that stuff up. Do you know what other uses?
It's mainly gonna be used for pick up the gravel due to the runoff on the streets, and there are several locations around the borough. That I can list on top of my head, that would be used, because the street sweeper alone is not strong enough or capable enough to pick up these gravel areas. And this would help make that
And
happen,
we have a nice new building to store it in, right?
correct?
So it's for like use on public streets.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Kind of a yes for
Yeah.
that.
And then obviously we're not doing this year, dog park.
Sorry, dogs.
Sorry.
Keep going down.
Nice to have, don't.
Yeah.
Now.
Hey, should the,
No, oh, wait a minute, I think it did go down.
didn't drop on the last one.
Which one?
I
You just
think
changed the
I did.
skid steer.
The skid steer, did you say yes?
Yeah.
Oh, you said yes on the wrong.
I didn't.
No,
No.
I didn't know the numbers didn't drop down.
Change it to no, and then let's see.
I think you're looking at the 111.
Oh, well, I don't.
Yeah.
I thought you were supposed to keep going down.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
that's a
okay,
good
I need to
catch.
make sure it gets, oh, you know what, I might not have it tied to the,
It didn't go down the pool liner either.
It went down the first level that we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, it's
It
it.
stopped.
well, let me make sure this then too. Okay, thank you for paying attention to that.
Okay, so
I will have
we're
to update that.
$30,000 less, so we're at
81,000.
81,000.
Now,
Yeah.
do we have to spend all 80, do you have to
No.
make this
No,
good? Cause do you fix the right to notice?
what's that?
Is there money in that allocated for that
Yeah.
stuff?
Oh, yeah, in the budget.
Okay, yeah, I mean, couldn't tell if we're like, let's get to zero, or if it's like, can we have some cushion?
Right.
So in the essence, because we only have 4 minutes till the council meeting starts, I think, again, council should review this. Our next meeting's in 3 weeks. So it gives additional time, and then we should be closer to where.
And I'll update that, the connections, obviously I didn't connect those properly. I'll update those connections with all the choices that have been made, to this time, which should bring us to about 81,237. And then I'll send it around to everybody tomorrow. And what?
I just want to add, like, when it comes to the stage, I think the rec board just repainted that floor in there.
Oh, right.
So it's just one thing to take in maybe consideration.
They did, yes, they do. Not the rep board.
I don't know who painted it, someone did.
Crafton Performing Arts.
Okay, all right.
I think it looks good.
Okay, then I guess that's the end of the
Any-
budget
Can
workshop.
we go
So
Trent?
then, John, you're saying we should all review it and put our yeses so we can.
Not put on the yeses,
Not on-
yeah, for,
Yeah.
mhm,
But make our own cheat sheets
Mhm.
and get this done.
yeah,
And-
Okay.
absolutely.